A man who loves you, truly loves you, wants to make you a priority, not a convenience. He wants to pour his heart into you. He wants to be the man you can trust, you can lean on. He wants you to revere him and hold him in high regard because he holds you in high regard. But here's a little secret that a lot of women may not know about a man when he truly loves you. He can sometimes lose sight of how to manage his emotions in a way that pushes him kind of over the edge of now becoming less desirable to you. Let me explain, because there's a lot to understand and dissect here. I'm going to give you 5 signs he loves and adores you, but I'm going to give it to you from the angle of understanding how these specific signs can sometimes turn into a problem. Not because he doesn't love you, but because he does not know how to handle his love for you. So, sign number 1 is that he cares about what you think and your opinion of things. All right? So, of course, that doesn't sound bad at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Who doesn't want a man as a woman that actually values your voice, values your input? And a man should care about that. And again, I would say that if he does love you, he will. And so with that, he's going to consult with you about things. He's going to want to tell you about things he has planned. He's going to, let's just say what's coming to mind right now. Let's say he wants to buy a new car. He'll want to see what you think. What kind of car do you like? What would you think is a good car for him to get? Now, please understand this. This doesn't automatically mean just because he values your opinion that every man who loves you will always take your opinion. Wanting it and implementing it are 2 different things. But he will want it. But here is how it can now cross over into a problematic area. Because as for a lot of men, when they're in love, when they're truly into a woman, even for some it could be infatuation, this strong desire to impress the woman, to want her approval, all these things, pushes him into an area where now he may struggle to make decisions without your input. Now, again, on the surface that may sound okay, but when you start to examine relationships, and that's what I do for a living, so I've gotten to see it from various angles. It can become tiresome sometimes for some women when he's unable to do things without her hands being on it. All right? And again, it may not even be that he is not capable. It's just that he is trying so hard to make sure that she is included to the point where he loses sight of how he needs to lead in some situations. Now, we can discuss, a man leading in general relationship, but we're not going to focus on that. We're just saying that at the very least, there are going to be times where you want him to go, just handle it. Like you don't even want that burden. But again, he's crossing that line because he wants to include you, as well as because he's trying so hard to impress and be what you want and be what you like because he's so into you. And again, it's not that he doesn't love you. He does not know how to handle his love for you. He loses himself in that process. He starts to become more passive because he's defaulting to you or, everything's about you. And for a lot of women, that can start to become unattractive. Now, there may be some of you who say, nah, I'm good. If he does that, I love it. I'm with it. Sign me up. But that's not always the case. And I guess for this specific point, I'm speaking to those of you that it can cross an unattractive line, so to speak. And I think it's important to discuss these things and the things that I'm going to mention later on the list, because I've seen so many potentially great relationships fall apart because, again, people don't know how to handle their love for each other. And more specifically, when we're talking about men, the way that I like to frame it or label it is that men don't know how to love within their masculine, or men struggle to, a lot of men, all right? Because they have not been taught that. Because the other thing that I think women have to understand about a man who is in love, because the reality is so many of you have been exposed to men who aren't in love, men who just want to have fun, men who only want to use you, that you may not really get what's happening to the guy who has real feelings. And this guy, again, because he is not used to having these types of emotions and thoughts and desires for a woman, he does not know how to properly manage it in a way that it doesn't become a little, again, unattractive. And this is where I say he has to learn how to love in his masculine, almost love with a poise to him, love with an understanding of balance to the situation, love with understanding that you still, for most women, if not all, still desire that masculine energy from him. But yes, you want that loving, nurturing energy from him at times too. And it's a balance, because let me just say this. We all, as men and women, have masculine and feminine energy within us. The goal isn't to just be one, it's to learn how to tap into both when necessary. However, I will always make the argument that what the average man is going to be successful with is making masculine energy his dominant energy, and the woman, feminine energy, her dominant energy. But you will still tap into both at different times. Anyways, to get back to the point, his over-reliance on your opinion, on your input, maybe even you flat out doing things. Well, what do you want? How do you want to do it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, how about you tell me what you want to do? That can cause a problem. But I would encourage you that if you ever experience that with that man, and this is a man you are into and you do have a desire for, that you discuss these things. I've seen a lot of women, again, get turned off, and rather than address it properly, either start to distance herself from the man, start to maybe react to it in a negative way that then hurts him. Because remember, because he is not used to being in this state, he also becomes more sensitive to what you have to say and how you feel and how you view him. And so if you lash out in a moment, that can, it can make him feel some kind of way. And so it's important that we discuss these things when we recognize it rather than immediately kind of react to it. But let's continue. The second sign he loves you and adores you is that he will struggle to satisfy you. Whoa! I know you weren't ready for that one. I know you were not expecting that one, all right? But of course, I have an explanation, and I need you to hear me out. And this, to me, is also an extremely important topic that doesn't get discussed enough. So again, with every point I make, remember this foundational piece. The man who's truly in love with you, unless he has really gained the wisdom and understanding of how to love in his masculine, he is going to be more sensitive, more cautious. You could use the words more fragile. He may have a harder time managing his emotions. He may be more antsy and anxious, more nervous, more insecure. All of these things can start to come out when the man's really into a woman, all right? And so when we talk about satisfaction, being satisfied, and yes, I'm talking about satisfaction in the bedroom. Now, quick disclaimer, I know some of y'all aren't getting down like that right now, and that's fine, okay? I'm not saying you should. We all know if we're taking a spiritual approach, it's best to wait. But for those of you who have engaged or will engage, this is an important discussion we need to have. So I've seen, heard of, coached many situations where great man loves the woman and she loves him. But when they engaged physically, it was less than stellar. and what happens is two things here. Let's look at it from two angles. Angle number one, him. Sometimes, sometimes his lack of skill in that area or his inability to satisfy you in that area is stemming from him being nervous. him being anxious, him overthinking. One of the things that wrecks the bedroom experience is people being in their head too much. That can happen on both sides, man and woman. And when we overthink and it can throw it off. You got to really feel each other. You got to get in tune with each other. That's how it really is going to take it to another level, but we'll leave that for a different discussion. The point is that because he is in his feelings for you, it can get in his head. He can overthink. He can overdo, underdo. He could be too fast, if you know what I mean. Right? Like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, not because he is not capable of satisfying you, but he has some things he has to work through to get there. All right? Now, that's one aspect, but consider this that also happens before I explain how we need to approach this. What also happens is, let's say again, woman engages with him in the bedroom. It's not really satisfactory. However, because he's such a great guy, she loves him, she wants the relationship to work, she doesn't tell him it's a problem. She doesn't express any dissatisfaction. Hell, she takes it to the left. She may be faking it in the bedroom and making him feel like it's the best thing she ever had, okay? But the whole time, it wasn't really all of that. And so now, he doesn't even understand where he's coming up short. No pun intended. He doesn't understand what's the real problem here because he's being led to believe by this woman that everything's all good. And I understand why a woman does this. I understand that, again, going back to the male ego sometimes can be it can be fragile even when he's not in love with you when it comes to this stuff. But if he's in love with you, yes, he could be a little extra sensitive. And it can be difficult to have these conversations. But it only sets the stage for more problems later, okay? So, okay, how do we solve this? How do we correct this issue? So, again, number one, going back to the problem is with him underperforming or struggling to satisfy. You've got to, again, talk through this. So one, both sides, whichever the issue is, or both at the same time, it's going to start with honest discussion. And I think it's important to establish early on, as soon as if you're willing to cross the lines of intimacy, then there should be no reason why you can't cross the lines of talking about intimacy. Like, there's no reasons why we cannot discuss what just occurred and how we can make it better. Now, notice I said what just occurred. So you don't want to discuss this while you're in the bed, all right, at that time, okay? If suck it up for that, no pun intended again, but suck it up for that moment. Get through the night. Next day, maybe a few days later, when you guys are having a good moment, have a discussion. But there needs to be a discussion, all right? Now, in giving criticism in this area, here are quick little tips to criticize, all right, effectively. Number one, give a compliment sandwich, all right? So you want to start off with something good. There's got to be something good, I would hope, that you can point to, right? Something good, and then something that needs to be improved upon, and then end it again with something good. That always softens the blow of the criticism. When you only point out the bad, it's like, well, dang, there's nothing you liked about this? That can hurt. That can be a tough pill to swallow. Even if a man did that to you, it could be tough, right? So compliment sandwich, good way to go. Second tip is criticizing the positive, not the negative. So rather than this was bad, I didn't like this, it's more, can we do more of this? I would love if you tried that. How about you do this? It's a more positive tone rather than a negative tone. Again, these tips doesn't mean you're guaranteed that no man will be offended. It just increases the chances of him being able to receive any person, because you can apply this in any area of life. And then the third thing is open yourself up to criticism as well. Because again, going back to what we said about the man when he's in love with you, really into you, caring about how you feel, the same way you don't want to criticize him about your performance because he's you're worried about his ego and things like that. He may be afraid to be transparent with you about some things. And you both have to, if the goal is to build a healthy relationship, you both have to be willing to hear each other out and not take it personally in a way that you internalize and turn it into a negative thing. You have to see this as, this is a chance for us to grow closer together. This is a chance for us to open the lines of communication in all areas of our relationship. This is a chance for things to be better. And that should be welcomed and embraced by both parties. And let me say this. If you take these methods and use these tips, and again, speak in a loving and positive manner, and he can't take that, then to me, it's like, then maybe it's just either not the right guy or not the right time. Because again, if we can't have these tough conversations, what kind of relationship are we going to have? We got to be able to talk about it, everything. So yes, this is an issue that happens a lot. There's so many people, there's people now married and it's still a problem. And the man may not know. That was one time I coached a couple and the man didn't find out till like 5 years into the relationship, he never gave his woman the big O. All right. I'm using vague words because I don't want YouTube to ding me. So you get what I'm saying with the big O. He found out for 5 years later. And the whole time he thought he was king in that bedroom. All right. I was going to use a different word, but again, I don't want to get dinged. But anyways, the point is it happens. We got to be real about this. We got to address it. But it is something that, yes, can tend to happen with a man who truly loves you. And you've got to understand the difference between you two simply not being a fit and other factors that may be getting in the way of you two getting into proper alignment with each other in that area. All right. And I will say this, when the man loves you and he has a willingness to take that criticism, learn, humble himself to get better, then you have a man who is capable of being able to satisfy you and you guys growing together in all areas of your relationship. All right. So I hope that one wasn't too heavy for some of y'all, but let's keep the ball rolling. And the third sign he loves and adores you is that he always makes himself available to you. Now, again, sounds great, right? What's wrong with him making himself available? And of course, I think that, we talk about all the time, that someone who's serious about you will make time. Now, if you've watched my other videos, I do think we have to consider that some people have more time to give than others. But yes, I agree that if he is serious and loves you, he is going to try to carve out time out of what he can give. All right. He is going to make an effort. But we're talking about the guy who always makes himself available, always there at your beck and call. Now, here's where this can cross into being a problem. Some men can get so into the woman that they let other things in their life fall to the side for the sake of being at her convenience. All right. They may sacrifice their aspects of their career, their purpose. They may cancel on other priorities to be there for you. And again, nothing wrong with being there for your woman. But I do think as a woman, you have to ask yourself, what stage is this setting? All right. Is this man learning how to balance his priorities? Is he going to make his world revolve around you to the point that it can become unhealthy? Now, again, this doesn't make him a bad guy. And this does not undermine the fact that he loves you. It again goes back to, does he know how to handle his love for you? Is he becoming so consumed by it that he is losing himself? And again, think about it. If you're with a man who doesn't take his work seriously, his purpose seriously, and everything about you, you could tend to lose respect for that man. All right. It could seem all flattering and cute at first, but especially when these, I'm looking for the right word, but essentially when he starts to let these things fall to the wayside, how are those things also impacting the other aspects of the relationship? So what I'm meaning is, okay, if he's so quick to leave his job and do this and do that, and it leads to him getting fired, it ain't that cute no more. You know what I'm saying? When he gets to a point where, okay, well, he wants to be a house husband so he can just be at your beck and call. Now, some of y'all may want a house husband, but for some of y'all, gonna be like, man, you better get yourself up and go work. All right? What do you mean just you're gonna be here for me? No, that's not what I want. This is where it can get tricky. And so again, it's an easy fix. It's just really discussing these things. Now, let me say this. I want you guys to understand that I'm doing my part to get the message out to men. I got some things I'm doing for the men. I'm not going to mention it right now because I want you guys to actually focus real quick on subscribing to my Clips channel. I really please want you to do that for me. I'm going to put the link in the description and in the comment section. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I need your help. I don't ever ask for help like this, but show me some love, click the link, subscribe. It's going to be more, it's basically cut up pieces of the content, maybe easier to digest for some of you, quicker. Maybe when you don't have time to listen to the full video, you can listen to the bits and pieces here and there. Either way, go sign up for that. But I do have a channel for the men. I don't want you to focus on that right now. I'll get the men on there. So I do know I'm going to have to play a part in helping men learn how to love in their masculine, helping men learn how to not let their emotions get the best of them to where they cross these lines. However, I still want to encourage you that when you see these things from a man that you care about, rather than letting that turn off get the best of you, talk about it so it can be nipped in the bud, because sometimes these men don't even understand how it's looking to you. They don't understand how maybe this is not attractive to you because all they're thinking is, I'm trying so hard to pour into this woman. She's got to be loving this. And it's like, yeah, to a certain extent, you know, there's a line that when you cross it, it can become a problem. And we want to help fix that. So have discussions about this. But I got some more to point out to you. So now we got the fourth reason, or the fourth sign he loves and adores you, is that he never tells you no. So let me just also add, some of these things is he's just infatuated, but we're going to focus on he loves and adores you, okay? And so again, I think you kind of get the gist of this one. It's like what we talked about earlier. Because he's so concerned with making sure you're happy, making sure you get what you need, making sure you see that he's trying so hard, he can't tell you no. He wants so bad to impress you. He wants so bad to be the guy who does it all for you. However, I think a lot of you already can see where this is going. Most women do not want a yes man. Most women are not going to remain highly attracted to a yes man. It's not to say that you don't want a man who embraces how you feel and your needs and tries to accommodate when he can. But when you see that he does not have the backbone to tell you no, especially in a moment where maybe you know no was actually necessary. Because if we're being real here, maybe it's not you, but I'm sure you've seen some women who will test their men, who will push the line as far as they can. And if that man does not draw the line or stop that push somewhere, she starts to lose respect for him. You don't want to feel like you're with a pushover, but the unfortunate reality is because he's so into you, he loses sight of the fact that he's not drawing a line. He doesn't understand how he is being a pushover. And now what's coming to me in my spirit right now that I have to mention, I didn't have it on the list, but I'm going to throw it in right now, is in becoming this pushover, he also becomes overly emotional to the point where maybe he's even emotionally unstable. And again, this can become unattractive. And so I'm explaining all this again to help you understand that I think sometimes women see these things and they may view it as, oh, okay, no, you know what? Nah, that's not the guy for me because he's acting like this. I don't like this. But you don't realize it's a symptom of how much he's actually into you. And it's a fixable thing. It's just that he has not, I hate to sound like a broken record, but he has not learned how to manage his emotions yet. Especially if this is his first go around on the love train. This is his first time really being all in love with a woman, feeling like he's in love with a woman. Oh yeah, he hasn't learned some lessons yet. And he really probably lacks the wisdom in understanding how to create a proper balance in this dynamic. So I'm giving you these signs because when they happen, I want you to catch yourself and rather be like, I don't like this anymore. Be more like, okay, you know what? I get it. He's really into me and maybe we just need to have a talk about this. Now, if you talk to him and he can't get it together, okay, I can't blame you if you don't want to stay with an emotionally unstable man. I can't blame you if you don't want to stay with a man who's just a pushover and a doormat to you. But I do think that sometimes if he just understood, it would make things a whole lot better. But this is what can tend to happen in these situations. And now the fifth sign that he loves and adores you. And this one is I feel passionate about this next one. He will seem too good to be true. Let me explain. So again, think about all that we just discussed on this list so far. And there's other things we can add, but I want to highlight these points. This is a man, when he's in love with you, that many times could be trying to do everything right. Hell, he could be literally doing everything right. And even more so if he's gained the wisdom to love in his masculine, then it's like, oh my God, this man might seem like he's just perfection. But either way, he's doing all these things. He's seeming great. And unfortunately, because so many women, and that may include you, have dealt with a lot of nonsense, have been hurt, have been let down, it starts to create actual fear in you that, nah, this isn't real. That this man's just up to something. Something's got to be wrong. He can't be this good. All right. When in reality, no, it's just that he loves you that much, that's why he's putting forth his best foot forward and he's legit with it. Like, this isn't an act for him. This is who he is towards you. But your ability to receive and process that can be hindered by, have you healed from your past situations? And your ability to embrace the good that's in front of you, because here's another thing that's hitting my spirit. A lot of women out there deep inside say they want this amazing man, but don't feel like they deserve him. And the reasons why can vary from, again, emotional trauma that has created negative perceptions of self, low self-esteem. There's different things, maybe shame from things that you've done in the past and you're holding over your own head. And I'm here to tell you, you got to let all that go. You got to forgive yourself. You got to release that from your spirit, because you do deserve love. You do deserve a great man. You do deserve that man who's coming correct right now. But you've got to make sure you can receive him when he comes. And I'm not saying there's never been a guy who was awesome and actually was bad for you. But as a woman, and this is why, again, healing is so important, because it allows you to be more in tune with your intuition. And therefore, a lot of times, it's not your intuition. In a scenario where he's legit, it's not your intuition telling you he's not. It's your fear. It's your mind not allowing you to embrace it for what it is. It is your past trauma not allowing you to embrace it for what it is. So yes, when that guy comes off like that, I've seen so many situations where he was legit and she ran from it. She ran from it. She couldn't handle it. And I don't want that to be you. So again, with every other example I gave you, as far as the solution is concerned, of course, healing is a part of this, but talk about it. Like, when you're dealing with that guy and he's showing you all this good stuff and you're scared, tell him you're scared. Because what can happen in so many situations is that you don't express what's going on within you. You don't express the struggle you're having and why you're having it. But then you start to act out in different ways that he doesn't understand. And now, what did I say earlier? The man who loves you is sensitive and more fragile. So now you start acting out because you don't know how to handle this. It makes him scared. Now he starts acting out because he doesn't know how to handle this. And now we got two people and it gets all messy and it blows up, not because they didn't love each other, but because they didn't know how to handle the love they had for each other. And that's why I'm so much of a encourager of healing, because I know so many more relationships could be saved and could come together and could experience something amazing if we just heal and we embrace the love that exists in this world. All right, so, sometimes I take some questions to go along with these videos, and I have two good questions that were sent in, all right? So one of the questions I received was, what if I like all of these things? And what if this really isn't a problem for me? Like, you're explaining this, they're saying this to me, you're explaining this as if it can be issues, but I don't see the issue. Fair enough. But I want you to not view these things based off of the early stages. It's always, are you going to be able to love, honor, respect this in the long run? So again, if you can honestly say to me, I love a yes man, all right? I want a yes man. Okay, cool. But in year 3, year 5, can you see yourself truly being attracted to, happy with, and pouring into this man when he's a yes man? If yes, cool. But if no, this is why we want to have these discussions and make sure we address these things early on. And we want to empower our partners to understand, because if he's being a yes man because he's so concerned with how you feel, there's nothing wrong with saying to him, listen, I want you to, your feelings matter. And if you feel strongly about something, I want you to do it. Don't think I'm never going to go along with it. Just show me the respect of talking to me about it, considering how I feel. But I want you to make some of your own decisions. I want you to, if you feel like you don't feel like doing something, be honest with me about it. It's the same way, don't tell me you want to come, you're down to come along to this event with me and you're going to be miserable at the event because you really didn't want to be there. But you didn't know how to tell me no. Because now you're going to make things worse. So you see, this is another way it can become a little messy. So again, if you like it, I love it. Good for you. But can you enjoy this over the long run is the important question to ask yourself. And the second question is, well, aren't some things actually too good to be true? Are we really supposed to believe that anyone who presents all this good is legit? No. You're not expected to believe everything that seems awesome is as awesome as it is. However, you've got to embrace what people are giving you if you expect to receive more of it. So when we don't accept the good that someone is showing us because it's it's too good to be true, we end up undermining their efforts. We end up sabotaging the situation. We end up devaluing their efforts in a way that they will stop being that good. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because now when they fall off, you'll say, you see, it was too good to be true. No, actually, had you embraced it as such, they would have kept pouring into you. You cannot judge if this is legit by, it's too good. Judge, or you cannot assume that it's not legit because it's too good. You got to say to yourself, okay, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, respect and embrace that. Unless your intuition is telling you otherwise, unless you're seeing red flags that need to be addressed, okay, cool. But if you're not, listen, as a coach, I've seen it. Sometimes it's just that y'all are really that good of a fit, and it really is that great. And again, I would rather you embrace it as such with the understanding that, listen, None of us are perfect. So there's going to be mistakes at some point. There's going to be shortcomings at some point. But there's a difference between someone who's making a real effort and giving you their best versus the person who just does not care or, does not pour into you and reciprocate the way that you need. Those are two different types of people. And I don't want you undermining the one who is making that effort and who does truly love you. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. So there's a quote that says, I can go days without talking to you, months without seeing you, but not a second goes by that I'm not thinking about you. And the reality is that when a man is really into a woman, when anyone